Hello, and I'd like to welcome back all our viewers to LTV1 for our new season. Pat O'Connell here again this year, bringing you local news, interviews, and sport for the season as we go along. Since we left you last May, lots of various things have happened around the Macroom and the Lee Valley area. First of all, we had the general election, which saw three TDs elected for the Cork Northwest area. That was Michael Moynihan, Michael Creed and Bet O'Keefe. Then we received news of a lot of delay on the bypass, and you can see from the traffic flowing behind me that Macroom is still very much choked up. The hold up in the bypass now is caused by some environmental problems back in Cascade Wood, where a rare species of Kerry slug has been located, and also some horseshoe bat. And in order for the bypass now to proceed, a new environmental impact study will have to be carried out back in this area. So further delays seen here on the progress of the bypass from Macroom. Also, since we came on back since last May, a lot of new developments have taken place in and around Macroom. Down in the Fair Green area, we called down there with our cameras, and you can see new buildings again down here again in the Fair Green Plaza, where there'll be 5 new retail shops and also some 10 new office blocks in the upper part of this building. Up in Chapel Hill, there's new housing developments taking place there. This development is called the Orchard, and down underneath this development you can now see the site which is cleared for the new Boys National School in Macroom. This site has just been recently cleared, and it's hoped that building will commence on this site very shortly, and that the new Boys National School, which I think is costing the region of 3.5 million, will be built and up and running for the new school year in 2008. Also up in the Mill Street Road, a lot of new developments taking place up there in housing as well, and also over in the Massytown area, a lot of developments are taking place there and are finishing up as well. Now that's in around Macroom, but also out in the hinterland in areas like Ballinagree, in areas like Inchigeela, Torelton and Clodove, all new housing projects taking place in all these villages around in the Lee Valley. So things, as I say, have moved on a lot since last May, and again we hope to bring you all the up-to-date news items and anything that's happening in the region over the next 6 to 7 months. Thank you very much indeed. Now here in the studio with me today I have Seamus O'Leary, who's the manager of Macroom Family Resource Centre over in Massytown, and Seamus is also coordinating the Macroom electoral area for the West Cork Development Partnership. Seamus, welcome to the LTV1. Now you might just briefly explain to us what this West Cork Development Partnership is all about.
Surely, Pat, thanks very much for the opportunity. The West Cork Development Partnership is a new company being set up in the West Cork region, and will be taking over from 2 companies that have been there for the last 10 years or more. One is West Cork Leader,
Okay.
and the other is West Cork Community Partnership, who are based in Bantry.
No, Seamus, just the West Cork Leader was covering all of the Lee Valley area in Brenton and West Cork, where the West Cork Partnership was just covering Bantry, was it?
That's right, yeah. A Leader covered everywhere from Carrigaline out.
Yeah.
This new company is going to cover all of West Cork, excluding Carrigaline.
Okay.
And now the grouping that we're covering, Bantry, will be extending to cover the whole of West Cork as well.
Okay. So right now, so you're setting up meetings also in the area to enlighten people of this new company.
Well, a number of things have happened. I mean, the Macroom Family Resource Centre were asked to actually take on this, about making people aware of this in the Macroom electoral area.
Okay.
So we're purely doing that side of it, but similar meetings are taking place all over West Cork, being undertaken by other groups. And what we've done over the last couple of weeks, we've had a number of public meetings in Macroom, Coachford, in Farran and in Inchigeela. And mostly that's about telling people about this new company that's being set up and what it's aiming to do. What's happening this week is we're having team meetings. The new grouping has a secondary strand now, where we have to actually look at disadvantage in this entire region.
Okay.
And that's what we're primarily interested in here. So we're having a number of team meetings this week. We had a meeting last night in Macroom around the theme of agriculture. And we're meeting tonight dealing with community development and childcare and youth. And over the next week we'll be doing other themes such as transportation in the region, immigrants in the region, and education and enterprise in the region. So they're the sorts of topics that we'll be dealing with.
Okay. And you said you're covering the Macroom electorate. I know that you didn't mention places like Ballymoon, around Cooley and Rennery and
That's right.
Ballingeary, they separate.
Well, they've had this programme for the last 10 or 11 years because they're part of the Mehel Muskerry region. And as part of that region, similar to Bantry, they've had this local development social inclusion programme, which is what the funding is called. They've had it for the last 10 years. So those regions are already included because of where they're located. Okay. So this is new to most of West Cork, but not all of West Cork. And
Seamus, just a question, like take the Macroom area, for example. Like we're not in any disadvantaged CLAR programs or anything. Can you see it working for us here?
Well, I would hope so. I mean, when I spoke to my people in the resource centre, our feeling was that whereas Macroom isn't identified as a poor area per se, there are lots of areas of disadvantage within Macroom and within Macroom electoral area. So just because the overall area isn't poor doesn't mean that there's not poverty and disadvantage here. So we'll be looking to use any resources that will come to this region tackling and targeting actual disadvantage that exists in the area. So a lot of the actual figures up to now would be specifically on the region as a whole.
Okay.
And that we're looking at actual specific areas of disadvantage within the community.
And Seamus, when this programme is up and running, then when will actually funding become in place? Is there a period of time in it? Or?
Well, the plan at the moment, and this isn't written in stone by any means, the plan at the moment would be that we'll have most of our needs analysis done by the start of 2008. We will be submitting a plan to government for the entire region of West Cork region by May 2008, looking for sanction by maybe September next year, and maybe at that stage some resources will start becoming available.
Okay.
So we're talking about that sort of timescale.
And the department handled it on behalf of the government, or?
They are. Eamon O'Keefe's department is handling this on behalf of the government, which is why they were waiting for the last 18 months for the two companies to agree an actual structure for going forward.
Okay.
And that's what the West Cork Development Partnership is about.
Right. So you say there's meetings and the Family Resource Centre over next week, and I presume they're advertised locally anyway.
They're all advertised locally, and if anyone is interested, they can contact the Macroom Family Resource Centre directly to find out what meetings are on and what evenings they're on. And we're looking for people to participate in this and to find out exactly what they feel the needs in the Macroom electoral area are.
Okay, or they can contact yourself if your phone number is 08728 68868.
That's exactly it, that's me. And yeah. I'm hoping that it's just for work purposes.
Yeah. Thanks, Seamus, for coming and talking to us.
Thank you very much, Pat. Thank you.
Now, continue on. I have a note here from Cooney's Bookstore stating that publishers Jack and Breda O'Connell of Skull Books and Jim Cooney himself, they'd be delighted if you could attend the launch of The Story of the 7th. This is by Charlie Brown on Sunday, December the 2nd at 3 p.m. in the Castle Hotel. This book was actually published privately over 30 years ago in a very small edition, and is now widely available for the first time. And as I say, it's Charlie Brown, who was involved with the number 1 Battalion, the Cork Brigade, all area. It was based in Macroom during the War of Independence, and this is a account of the period. And the new edition contains a foreword by his daughter, that's Nora Brown, and also some photographs that were not published in the original book. So again, as I say, it's history of the local area, and it's being launched in the Castle Hotel on Sunday, December the 2nd at 3 p.m. So anybody who would like to come along, you're quite welcome to do that. I also have a note here from Lee Valley Cabs, and this is regarding service for old age pensioners, and they're just stating that if you need your Christmas shopping, or if you want prescriptions or gas or anything delivered, if you just ring them on 087 413 6067, that's 413 6067, they will be happy to oblige you. Now, the Christmas season is coming upon us, and Macroom will be gearing up for promoting the town over the Christmas period. And the Lee Valley Enterprise Board, they will proudly present Sandy and Muntland again this year in Castle Street, Macroom, and this will be on the 8th and the 9th of December from 12 to 6 p.m. Also, on the 8th of December, the Lee Valley Enterprise Board are doing a big promotion in the town in order to draw in people for the Christmas shopping. As you're aware, like, we have a lot of new the development in Macroom, and also we'd like to bring people back up into the town square area. And on the 8th of December, at the town square above, there will be the switch on of the Christmas lights, which will take place at 5 o'clock. And there'll be also an art and craft exhibition and sale in the town hall. And this will be running from the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th of December from 12 to 6 p.m. It is also the intention of the Enterprise Board to bring together a choir consisting of about 300 pupils of students from various schools within the Lee Valley, and they will perform down the Fair Green and also above in the town square. They'll be in the town square around 4:30, just before the switch on of the lights, and is also envisaged to have real snow actually falling on that evening when the choir will be performing. And as I say, next week the chairman of the Enterprise Board, Jerry Gray, will be here with us to give further details of the promotions which began in Macroom over the Christmas period. Now, so I have a note here from the transition year students of St. Mary's Secondary School, and here's a little post they have, with they're presenting the best of both worlds. It's a gala night of music, dance and drama, and it's on Wednesday the 5th and Thursday the 6th of December at 7:30 in St. Catherine's Hall, Macroom. Tickets are €10, students €8, and tickets are available. You can ring 086 386 4969. That's the transition year students of St. Mary's Secondary School with their performance of Best of Both Worlds. Also, I have a note from, this is from the East Cork Choral Society with the Seafield Singers, and they're doing the Messiah, and this is on Saturday, November the 24th at 8 p.m. in the Cathedral, St. Mary's in St. Anne's in Cork. And anybody that's interested in going in to see the Messiah, there will be a bus leaving the square in Macroom at 6:45 p.m. As a little poster. And tickets are available from Norma at 026 43850. That's from Norma at 026 43850. And I say that's the Messiah, which is being performed in Cork on Saturday, November the 24th at 8 p.m. And the bus will leave the square at 6:45. Now, coming on to sport. I suppose since we were last with you last May, some clubs in Big Cork have been very successful in the sporting fields. Grinna won the Intermediate Football Championship, and Kennevy won the County Junior Football Championship. So that was two great results there for two clubs in Mid Cork. Also, Macroom under 21s were unfortunate. I suppose they contested the final of the under 21 championship and the second year running, and were defeated in the final by a point by Castlehaven. Now, results from last weekend action in Mid Cork was the Junior C Football Championship final played up in Kilmatra, Neverbond 2-8, Macroom 0-7. In the Junior B Hurling Championship, Ivleary 0-5, Ballincollig 0-4. And in the minor county final, which was played last Sunday, this is the A final, Mallow won 13, Kennevy 13 points, and that was after extra time. Now, also last Sunday in the minor B County Championship final, Dunamore was successful here, winning on Dunamore 1-9, Kildallery 1-4. Fixtures for next weekend in Mid Cork as follows. On Saturday, November the 24th at Coach Road, the Junior B Hurling Championship final semi-final takes place between Blarney and Clodove at 2 p.m. And on Sunday the 25th at Grinna, the under 21 Hurling Championship semi-final, Grinna versus Dunamore, takes place. And on Tuesday night next, that's November the 27th, the Junior B Football League semi-final takes place in Clodove at 8 o'clock under lights. And this is Macroom versus Dunamore. That's next Tuesday the 27th at 8 o'clock in Clodove. Now, soccer results and fixtures over the last weekend. This is Macroom Soccer Club. Results under 12 National Cup third round. College Corinthians 2, Macroom 0. Cork City and County under 17 League, Macroom 2, Leaside Knockray 4. Fixtures for this coming weekend in the under 11 Nation Cup third round on Saturday, November the 24th. Macroom take on Abbeville United in the Town Park at 10:30 a.m. Also on Saturday, next 24th, in the under 15 League, Macroom take on Kinsale in the Town Park at 11:45 a.m. And on Saturday, 24th, the Premier A League, Macroom A versus Village United A in the Town Park at 2 o'clock. And on Sunday, November the 25th, in the Corinthians Cup first round, Blackpool Celtic versus Macroom B at 10:45 a.m. in Cork. West Cork League, last weekend's results were as follows. In the Beamish Premier Division League, Crookstown 3, Clonakilty 4. Kilmichael Rovers 0, Bantry Gunners 5. In the Division 2 League, Drumree Dynamos 1, Ceylon 3. Clodove FC 0, Courtmac Sherry 3. And fixtures for next weekend are as follows. The Beamish Division 1 League, Skibbereen take on Leaside in Skibbereen at 11 a.m. In Division 2, Doris take on Drumree Dynamos at 11 a.m. In the Catering Shield, Riverside Athletic take on Castledown Celtic at 11 a.m. and Clodove FC take on Altered Celtic at 2:30 p.m. That's the sport for this week. As I say, in the start of the program, it's nice to be back again for the coming year. And as we have told you in the past, if you have any news items, or if you need any events covered, would you please contact myself, Pat O'Connell, at LTV1 Macroom, and the phone number is 026 42023, or you can also contact us on 087 266 2192. Thank you for watching.
Good evening, viewers. Again this year, the local transition year students will help with continuity for LTV. My name is Sinead O'Callaghan, and I'd like to introduce you to Anne Dunn to tell us about the happenings in the Barry Gap and local area.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the programme. And now I'm going to bring you an update on the entertainment in the locality. First of all, I'm given a piece here, and it's Macroom MSC Mission Support Group, Third World Project, Missionaries of the Sacred Heart. And it's November the 23rd, 8 p.m, Coolcar House. It's a social evening, tea served, music by Ger O'Donoghue. Slides and video of Father Frank's Drop-In Centre and Night Shelter in South Africa. Tickets, €15, and they're at sale at Macroom Printing Works and Max Sweeney's shop, and committee members. So that's the Mission Support Group. And now moving on to Briery Gap. On Saturday the 24th of November at 8:30 p.m, Gallowglass Theatre Company present a play, Danty Dan, by Gina Moxley. Now this play is actually, it is based around a County Cork village, and it is an astonishing piece of writing by Cork playwright Gina Moxley about the loss of innocence, the lust for sex and everything in between. It creates a tragic, comic voyage of discovery, treating adolescents sexually objectively, but reversing the gender stereotypes usually associated with aggressive sexuality. So that's on Saturday the 24th at 8:30 p.m. And on Sunday the 25th, and this is the poster for Danty Dan, which is Gallowglass Theatre Company, the one I just told you about. And coming up on No Stranger to You on Sunday the 25th, John Kenny with a complete new show. And tickets for John Kenny are €22. Friday the 30th of November, there's a school's production. That's at 10 a.m. and at 11:30. And it's called Santa and the Penguins. After that, of course, we have the big event of the year, which is the Salon Haven Gala event. And this year, we welcome back Rebecca Storm in concert. This will be a great night's entertainment, of course. And there's a reception before the show. Tickets are €35, and that includes the reception. So that promises to be an excellent night, and it's on Sunday, the 2nd of December. That's Sunday, the 2nd of December, Rebecca Storm. And, of course, it's the time of year again for Pentor. We're already at rehearsals, and this year, hopefully, will be as funny and as entertaining as other years, with plenty of music, etc. So, we're doing Cinderella, and it opens on Thursday, the 13th of December, and it runs until Monday, the 17th. That's nightly now at 8 p.m. with 2 matinees, and the 2 matinees are Saturday, the 15th, and Sunday, the 16th, and that's at 3 p.m. Now, there's also a lot of activity coming on the 8th of December, but I'll give you more information about that because it's an all-day event, and I'll talk to you about that next week. In the meantime, enjoy your entertainment.
Now we have Brendan O'Brien in conversation with Mick Lehan about a historical commemoration in the Bailick Mill on Sunday next. And also with 2 ladies from Clondrohid about a fundraising event.
Áthas an dánaring bheith reisliv ríis im líana, agus gan dót be golóir agaliv agus golóir scéalte a going idir seo agus an saora. Today I'm speaking to Mick Lehan, who will tell us about a very interesting historical commemoration that's to take place in the Bailick Mill. Now, I should say that on Sunday next, there is also the Kilmichael commemoration, but these 2 events have been scheduled so as not to clash with each other. Kilmichael begins sometime around 1 o'clock, and the Bailick Mill event will start at 4 o'clock in the evening. This is one not to be missed, Mick.
Well, Brendan, what it is, it's the story of the Flight of Earls, portrayed in a reading, maybe not a full play, but it's a full dress reading, part play, we'll say. It's not a full one-act play as such, it's more a reading. On the story of the Flight of Earls and their demise once they left our shores until they landed in Rome. Now, they had a very turbulent journey, and of course there was huge disappointment. Of course, I should mention first, I suppose the name of it is Reflections on the Battle of Kinsale. Now, of course, this was the fallout from the Battle of Kinsale. After crushing defeat, the Earls, what actually happened, as you know, is that they were kind of a little bit badly organised, and the Spanish group under Don Juan de la Quilla and themselves weren't coordinated very well, and there were huge casualties on the Irish side. And of course, like all wars, the British started coming down very hard on the survivors, and the Earls got together and decided to flee the country. Now, it took a while to get organised. A lot of them were placed in the northern half of the country. Red Hugh O'Donnell and Hugh O'Neill and Conor Maguire and all those. Now, they went from, to cut the story short, they went from Loxwilly and they sailed straight out into the Atlantic rather than come down the west coast, because there were too many, there was too much British occupation along Galway, and that to be too dangerous. And
Britannia ruled the waves.
Correct. Queen Elizabeth I would have been in power at the time. Now, they sailed out and they landed in France and Spain, they landed in Flanders, and of course they were heading for the winter time. They were in the winter, and of course heading out, they had a very rough trek through ice and snow and all the rest in parts. Now, here and there they were winding down by royalty, a place called Halle outside Brussels. They got civic reception from the royalty, and they eat, what's that they said, they eat with silver spoons and golden forks and things like that. Yes. But that's the nice side of their journey. The tragic side of their journey is that they had a very turbulent crossing, going across Lake Lucerne, a place called Devil's Bridge.
Yes.
The horse, one of the horses, but the horse that was taking all their money, fell down into a ravine, and all their money was lost. Now, you can imagine, there were huge numbers. O'Neill and all his followers and all his sympathisers, there were huge numbers, and you don't go very far without money. Even then, not mind today, in the 1600s. Now, Patrick's Day, and this has something to do with our thing now, because what we're doing next Sunday is the story of this, the Cork Shakespearean Company are doing the story and play in a reading, but there's a film to follow it. But Patrick's Day, we're doing a second part, and there's a reason for that. Patrick's Day, then they made their way into Milan, and they went down into Rome, and they were received quite well in Rome, but they had no money. So along the way, there was an Archbishop McMahon from Clogher, and there were a few ecclesiastical figures from Ireland along the way that helped them. But of course, the King Philip, who was very young at the time, King Philip didn't help them as such. They looked for a meeting with him and all the rest of it. But there were peace talks going on between himself and the British Crown, and he didn't want to upscuttle that. Now, we have a man coming to us next March. Well, no, I'll jump a step ahead now.
Sorry.
Perry O'Donovan. Now, he's a professor of history from Edinburgh and London universities, and he was one of the research team in Oxford for a while, and he has huge work done on all these things. As we speak, he's walking the trail that they did.
Okay, and it could be very interesting to have maybe interview him for LTV, and maybe for you to tell us about the March one again later on in the year.
We will.
But right now, Mick, maybe you could just tell us, if somebody turns up at the Bailick Mill on Sunday,
right,
what are they likely to see?
Well, if they turn up there at 4 o'clock, the Cork Shakespearean Company are doing this dress
pageant.
Reading. Yeah, pageant we'll call it.
Yes.
And you have some of them dressed as some of the Earls, and we have Donald O'Sullivan Bearer. He was another one of them also. There would be very much of interest to the Sullivan Bearer committee that did the Greenway Walk there a couple of years ago. Through Ballingeary, Carriganima, up in the Mill Street. But they would be expecting to see that for a start. And then after that, we'll be putting on a film. This film that we happened to, just Perry O'Donovan got a hold of it for us. It was done by the BBC, and it's 48 minutes long. No, it gives a very, very detailed report on the flight of the Earls. It must have cost a fortune to do it.
So it's a very professionally produced film,
it is a BBC-produced film.
Yeah.
And it, as I said, if you saw it, like they had the every detail in the sea sailing and the overland travelling and the battles and the whole lot.
Okay.
Now, that film, we hope to put that on after the play. Now, we gave notice to schools, we gave notice to historical societies, and if there's only a certain amount of capacity in the room at Bailick Mill, and the Cork Shakespearean Company agreed that if there were classes from schools or extra people, half an hour after they'd do it again, or an hour after they'd do it again.
Is there a charge going into this, Mick?
There isn't.
No.
We may do a raffle, because we'll be giving out a bit of refreshments,
fundraising.
a bit of refreshments and things like that. And we may do a raffle. We'll see, but there's no actual charge going in the door.
Okay,
there's no actual
very
charge.
good. So a very exciting event coming up there in the Bailick Mill on Sunday next. The story of O'Neill and O'Donnell and their flight from Ireland to Italy, ending the old Gaelic order in Ireland, which of course had enormous consequences for language, poetry, music, and the old Gaelic way of life. Do go along to the Bailick Mill on Sunday next at 4 o'clock. Many people in the Clondroid area, especially those with young families, will be well aware of the terrific creche facility that's available in the village of Clondroid, called Clown Ara. It's been in existence since 2001, and with me now are Harriet and Anya to tell us about a fundraising event that will be taking place
on Friday night next. Harriet.
We're from Clonard, Clondrohid Community and Preschool and After School, and we are a non-profit organisation, and we do fundraising to raise money for toys and equipment for the centre.
So you badly need money and funds.
Yes.
And what will you be buying besides toys?
High chairs, cots, buggies, anything we need just to have better facilities for the children.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many children are in the creche and day centre at this stage?
There's about 70 families.
70 families coming there. Lot of people.
Lot of people.
Okay. So fundraising is on Friday night, and what form will this take?
Well, a group of us came up with the idea last year that a Shkriok with local talent would be fantastic, because as you know yourself, there's very little live entertainment at the moment. Yeah. So a lot of parents and local talent came together, and we put on a fantastic night's entertainment. So we're going ahead with it again this year. And who we have are Coltis Group. They're musicians from Mahina, Killamatra and Clondrohid, and they're going to have music, song and storytelling.
Very good.
We have Fiona Kelleher, who's a local Shano singer, and we have the classical quartet, which is classical string section. I'll be singing myself. The Showstoppers are a local group of children. We put on a show once a year, and they're going to do a couple of songs for us. Marnie Kelleher, she's a local Shano singer as well. She teaches Shano singing in Ballyvourney, and I think she's from Farn, but she's a fabulous singer anyway. We have local junior set dancers. Teddy Keller is teaching those at the moment, and they're fantastic. And we have an adult set dancing group as well. They were set dancing in Manchester there with the past fortnight and did very well there. And we have traditional music, and we have storytelling, and we have singing, and we have the Hagerty School of Dancing. So a fantastic line of entertainment for the night.
And remind us once again where it's on?
It's on in Clondrohid Community Hall at 8 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock. It's going to be a long night on, yeah?
Fantastic. It will be brilliant tonight.
Great music.
Yes.
So we wish you the
not to be missed.
We wish you the very best of luck with that.
Thank you very much, Brendan.
The centre won't be open for people to see it that night, will it?
Not that night.
Not that night.
Okay.
But
anybody is welcome to come to us at any time.
At any stage.
We're open in the morning from 8 o'clock until 6 in the evening, so you're welcome to come at any time.
Agus bín cúpla focal gailing is stocha leis seán.
Bín.
Anna gailge ag na daltaí agus ag na montóirí cosú letsa chuma.
Oh God, níl isagum. Mariola sin, tá sé go léir coiltagum.
Nether and West. Okay, tá sin gohúnta. So, very worthy cause there in Clondrohid Community Hall on Friday night next at 8 o'clock. That's the Community Hall in Clondrohid.
A new calendar in aid of Marymount and Macroom Hospital has just been launched in Coolcar House. Here now is Richard Hinchin to cover the launch.
Like to welcome viewers of LTV here to Coolcar House Hotel in unusual company, and I'm referring to the animals that are here in the forefront. On my left we have extreme left we have Nora O'Connell. On my left we have Bernie Buckley from the Macroom Hospital, and on my right, no stranger to national media, we have our own Macroom president, Catherine Buckley. To start with you, Nora, who hails from the outskirts of Macroom in the Hina parish, you might outline why we are here this morning to our viewers of LTV.
We're here to launch a calendar for 2008 to raise funds for the Macroom Hospital.
What prompted you, as someone living in the environs of Macroom Hospital, to come up with this idea?
Macroom Hospital is such a wonderful place. You wouldn't realise until you would need it, and to see the work they do there, it's just wonderful. So I think every euro that's put in there is very necessary to make it more successful and to build a bigger and better place.
I know you had reason, obviously your late mother-in-law was in the care of Macroom Hospital, so obviously you have been on the premises on a very regular basis up to recently when your late mother-in-law would have passed away.
The respite care that at all times I was there was A1. The hospitality at all times was wonderful, and in particular to my mother-in-law in her dying days, it was absolutely A1. Both to the staff and everybody concerned there, it was just wonderful.
I would have to concur with you because obviously my late uncle Dermot Hinchin would have been in the care, and I couldn't agree more with you that the staff, the level of cleanliness and hygiene and just the friendliness around, and not to mention the exceptional care that the patients would have incurred was second to none. That leads me on nicely to Bernie. You're involved in the Macroom Hospital. You might just outline your involvement in Macroom Community Hospital.
I've been a nurse and a staff nurse in Macroom Community Hospital for, dare I say, over 20 years, and I'm the present ward sister there now since last year, and I've been working there for so long. It's part of my life, really, I suppose, at this stage.
I'm sure you welcome these ideas and these fundraisers because obviously funds are paramount to the running of your local hospital.
Absolutely, because every single whole euro, every penny that we get, we actually utilise it to the best of our ability to put it into more resources, more equipment, more electric beds, more overhead hoists, more things that are of benefit for the patients. And each item that we get costs so much, but everything is leading to giving a better standard of care.
You might outline to our listeners, obviously, for those people that may not had the opportunity of having to visit people there, and I'm sure you'd welcome people to maybe cheer up a patient's day if they hadn't a relative in Macroom Hospital just to come into the day room. You might just outline to our listeners the amount of patients and the staff that are in Macroom Hospital, because for a lot of people Macroom Hospital is on your right if you're on your way to Killarney, or it's on your left as you're going to Cork City. So maybe you might tell us a small bit about how many people are working and how many patients that you're presently caring for and so on in Macroom.
We have 38 patients in the hospital. We would have 33 continuing care patients. We would have 2 patients that would come on respite, to give families a break, and that's run through the public health nursing. We would have convalescent patients who would, maybe post-op, as in post-hip surgery or whatever, would be sent to Macroom for convalescent care, and then we would have palliative care as well in the hospital. Our staff complement would be almost at 50. We would have a matron, Rosemary O'Connell, and then we have the nursing staff, we have our multi-skill attendants, we have clerical staff, we have groundsman, and we have our catering staff as well, our cook and our chefs and all the rest of it.
So you can see, listeners, obviously Macroom Hospital is a big operation and obviously is well worthy of your generosity. Speaking of generosity, on my extreme right here we have our own local girl from Ryland, Catherine. Catherine, your involvement here today, you might outline to listeners why you are here today in Coolcower.
And Nora approached me a number of weeks ago and asked me would I be interested in being involved in doing the calendar for 2008 in aid of the hospital, and I was obviously delighted to be able to do it, and Nora worked the schedule around my schedule, so I was able to facilitate being here, and it's great to be involved in such a local venture such as raising money for the hospital. I think it's very important the service that they give to the community. It enables particularly the older generation to remain in their local community at the latter end of their years, and I was delighted to be able to help in any small way.
While you are here today in your capacity as president, I'm sure this is something that you would encourage your Macra branches throughout the country to do worthwhile ventures to support those that are less well off than ourselves.
Certainly to be involved in your community is extremely important, and we all live in a community, and it's important that we take some sort of active participation in it and think outside ourselves. It's very easy to get caught up in one's day-to-day activities, and in a time when people are talking about work-life balance, it's important to look beyond yourself, and even if it's only 5 minutes any day, it's always good, and you'll be so much better for it anyway yourself.
I appreciate that you have a busy schedule here. Maybe you might just outline to our listeners, since I last interviewed you at Macroom Ploughing, which was probably early on in the year, how is your presidency going? Obviously, you have a lot of functions and miles covered since we last spoke.
Well, certainly the Macroom ploughing was very early on in my days. I've about 37,000 kilometres done in the last 24 weeks, so I've seen all 26 counties, and I'm going around for the third and fourth time in some places. So life's been very busy but very worthwhile, and I'm enjoying my presidency. It's you certainly meet an awful lot of people, and it gives you a whole new world of things to do, but I'm enjoying particularly going around the country to meet clubs and Macroom members and seeing how different communities and different clubs are active in their own areas.
Having been in Macra, I can sympathise with your schedule. You might just outline to our listeners, maybe, I know there's no such thing as a typical day, but maybe just to give people an idea, because people think when people are officers or president that is a great job and they have little to do, only sit maybe above in the farm centre. But maybe you might just outline to our viewers what an average day would involve for the presidency for a president.
Well, I suppose I don't talk in days anymore. I talk in weeks, because my whole week is how it decides where I'm going. So, for example, yesterday I was in Dublin. I'm in Cork today. I'm in Kilkenny tomorrow morning, Dublin Thursday night, and then Friday I'm back in Cork, and I'm spending the weekend in Tullamore to be back in Dublin on Monday. So I spend a lot of time in my car going around the country, and then during those days I would have fit as many meetings in, probably in 2-hour blocks, and get in as much as possible in the one area at any given time.
We were fortunate in Macroom to have an exclusive with you. You were only just recently elected. We're now approaching a month which is quite important in the whole area of fiscal policy and planning. You would have met with Brian Cowan as regards your budget submissions. What are you looking for, and what was the body language after your meeting?
We met Minister Cowan about 2 weeks ago, and his outline was that we'll be tightening up the belts, and he wasn't indicating that he was going to be particularly generous, but we certainly were appealing for structures that would help and aid particularly young farmers. We were looking for... Good morning to you too. We were looking particularly for an increase in the stock relief for young farmers, that the period of time would be extended. We were looking for a restructuring, consolidation of land, so that young farmers, if they purchase land, could try and purchase and restructure in a consolidated manner rather than having parcels of land scattered along the way. That would also help carbon emissions and just reduce stress in regards to the cutting back and commuting of young farmers. And we were also looking in regards to water charges and water rates, the fact that so many young farmers and farmers in general are having to put in pumps. So there'll be a few of the things we were looking for. So we'll have to wait and see what the magic budget day brings on the 5th of December.
Okay, there you have it, listeners. I want to wish, on behalf of LTV, wish Catherine every success. Obviously, Catherine created our own share of history by being elected the first lady Macra president for an organisation that has been all male dominant as regards presidency. So we wish you every success. Obviously, time is moving on, and I know our present company are getting somewhat restless. So I'd like to thank Catherine for breaking away from her busy schedule to be here with us, and she now has a new role. You hear of page 3 models, but obviously this opens up a whole new area for you, Catherine, here today. Equally, I'd like to thank Bernie from Macroom Hospital, and last but by no means least, Nora Casey and her husband Pat, who have brought along these Appalachians here today, in which is a whole different type of animal over in the Ahina environs. So, to conclude, I suppose the message is, you have now got an outline of what Macroom Hospital is doing, and I know from speaking to people that there's a waiting list for people to get involved or to get into Macroom Hospital. It's a worthy cause, and I would appeal to you to support this worthwhile cause by buying these calendars, which will go on sale maybe in the next fortnight in the run up to Christmas, because you know that 100% of your subscription will be going to the cause. There'll be no leakage. So to all of you on LTV, goodbye and thank you.
Next, a contestant from Who Wants to be a Thousandaire in need of St Mary's Secondary School Building Fund.
A Thousandaire. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of St Mary's Secondary School Parents Association, will you please welcome to address you Geraldine Galvin. Let's hear for Geraldine Galvin. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a big hello and a big welcome to each and every one of you to our entertainment night, Who Wants to be a Thousandaire, on behalf of St Mary's Secondary School Parents Association Building Fund. I'd like to, as I say, welcome everybody tonight, but a big special welcome to our main sponsors, Richard and Mary Creedon. I think they're down over in the back corner over there. When we proceeded to start with this event, getting the main sponsor on board was the big challenge for us, and when Mary and Richard came on board, we knew we had a project that we could deal with. So thank you very much for that. All I can just say to everyone tonight is you're all very welcome here. I do hope you'll participate in the night and that you'll enjoy the entertainment. It's promised to be a great night. Make it of it what you will. Participate. There'll be loads of spot prizes. And it's up to everybody to enjoy themselves. So without further ado, we'll introduce your host for the night, Tom Shanahan. Tom Shanahan.
Gentlemen, Who Wants to be a Thousandaire is always started with a celebrity contestant. That's someone who's brave enough to be the first guest on stage and to show you all how the show works. Ladies and gentlemen, your celebrity guest tonight is local. She's chairperson of the local Trout Anglers Association. Ladies and gentlemen, your celebrity guest has a keen interest in board games, with Tiddlywinks, Ludo being her forte. Ladies and gentlemen, she's married to Tony for the last 2 days and has taken time out of her honeymoon. She says she's reasonably happy with her new role and wife and homemaker. Will you please welcome Eleanor Shortall O'Flynn. Let's hear for Eleanor Shortall O'Flynn, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Tom. Ladies and gentlemen, as Tom mentioned, our first contestant tonight, to show you how easy it is to win €1,000, is Eleanor Shortall O'Flynn. Let's give her a huge round of applause. Eleanor, you're very welcome on stage.
Thanks very much.
Eleanor, you got married 2 days ago.
That's right, yeah, to Tony.
And you're chairperson of the local Trout Anglers Association.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. What an interesting life you have.
I know.
Okay. Eleanor, are you ready to play Who Wants to be a Thousandaire?
Bring it on.
Eleanor, we're going to start you off with a nice easy question to settle you down there and relax you for €5. Which river runs 2,600 miles and is located in the Asian Indo-Chinese Peninsula? For €5. How's your geography?
Well, did I tell you that I actually went to St. Mary's myself? and my teacher, Phil, over there, right? She didn't teach me geography, so I'm not much good at geography, but I was very good at commerce.
Tell me, did she give you any insights into the Asian Indo-Chinese Peninsula?
No.
Okay, well, I'll tell you how this works. You do have 3 lifelines, but before I show them to you, I'm going to show you the 4 possible answers, okay?
Okay, great.
Is it the Liffey, the Lee, the Blackwater, or the Mekong?
God, you're not making it any easier, are you? Sure. Look, we'll have a go with D.
Eleanor, was that a guess?
Yeah.
Well, Eleanor, it was a fantastic guess. You've just won yourself €5.
Yes!
Question 2 is for 10. In the children's story, what did Rapunzel let down? Her mother, her hair, her family, or her school?
Could we go maybe with 50-50 on this one? Because I know her family were quite disappointed, but I'm not sure if that's the right answer.
Have you any other ideas outside of her family, Eleanor?
Well, you know, I don't know where she went to school, so I'm not exactly sure, you know. Will we try for 50-50?
Are you sure you'd like a 50-50, Eleanor?
I do.
Okay, I need to talk to your teacher who did fairy tales with you all those years ago. Let's do a 50-50 and make this a little bit easier for Eleanor.
All right, I know now. It's her hair.
You think her mother was happy enough, do you?
Yeah.
It's the correct answer. You're up to €10, Eleanor.
Thanks.
For 15 euro, Cox, Granny Smith and Golden Delicious are all varieties of what? Bananas, grapes, apples, or oranges?
Well, luckily, right, I did work in Spar on the veg counter, and I actually know this one, right? It's actually apples, isn't it?
She looks like a model, but she works in Spar. It was the correct answer for €15. Well done. Well done.
Thank you very
Eleanor,
much.
question 4 is for €20. It's your first milestone question of the night, and Eleanor, it's the last point at which you can leave utterly humiliated.
Okay.
For €20, in Spain, what is a matador? A waiter, a lorry driver, a policeman, or a bullfighter?
I've met one of those on holidays myself.
Before you got married, Eleanor, isn't that right?
Yes, oh, of course. That's a bullfighter.
Among other things, is the correct answer for €20. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Eleanor, you're doing very well. You're at €20. You're 8 questions away from 1,000. Question 5 is for €30. Which oil is used to make putty? Sesame oil, olive oil, crude oil, or linseed oil?
Oh. Well, I know it's not sesame oil. And I know it's not olive oil. And I hope to God it isn't crude oil. So we'll try for linseed oil.
Eleanor, you've just won yourself €30.
Yes.
Well done. Question 6 is for 40. Which of the following is not the name of a Thomas the Tank Engine? Gordon, James, Henry, or Alan?
All right. That's a very tough one now.
This is where you wish your phone a friend was 5 years old.
I know. But actually, you know, he may not be 5 years old, but I reckon he'd know this one.
Is he a Thomas the Tank Engine fan, Eleanor?
He's a bit of a Thomas the Tank Engine fanatic, actually. Could we maybe give him a call?
We'll phone your friend. Who are we phoning?
We're phoning my husband, Tony.
Oh, this is your recent husband.
Yeah, 2 days.
So you're still in the throes of passion and madly in love.
Absolutely. He's fabulous.
Eleanor, before I ring him, can I say thank you so much for taking the time out of this passionate relationship to be the special guest here tonight. Let's phone him. What's his name?
Tony.
Tony. Okay, let's phone Tony.
Hello?
Tony, darling.
Hello, Tony.
Tony, it's me. It's Eleanor.
Hello, Tony.
Who's speaking?
Tony. I have Eleanor Shortall O'Flynn here with me at the moment. She tells me she married you recently.
Honey, I've done all the, I've done it all. I've done the shopping and I'm doing the waitering, and I'll be back up now. I must get the meat now below from Connie Thomas. I'll be back
No,
up in a
Tony,
few minutes.
that's all right, Pet.
I'll be fine, Ellen. I'll be fine.
No, that's all right, Pet. Everybody can hear you now, Pet. Everybody can hear you. Yeah. You can go back to the
Are you all right,
hospital.
Pet? Did you have to crash downtown or something?
No.
Monica, get out, Monica. She's the wife's on the phone.
Who's Monica, Tony?
Who?
Who's Monica?
Oh no, monosyllable. Monosyllable, I was saying about a monosyllable. Do you know those monosyllables?
Tony.
What's wrong, Pet?
Focus, Pet, focus.
What are you doing?
I'm on the Who Wants to Be a Thousandaire, and I'm about to make loads of money so we can go back on honeymoon.
Come here, is that Christy Tarrant on the other side? Christy, put me on to Christy a minute. How
Tony,
Christy?
Tony, I'm great. And yourself?
Is she alright? Is she behaving herself below there?
Tony, as somebody who's not married, I'm going to give you a bit of advice.
Yeah.
You're saying far too much, right? She's getting increasingly worried here beside me.
I'm getting a bit nervous.
Tony, I'm going to explain this to you now, right?
Yes, right.
I have Eleanor beside me here at the moment. She requires your assistance on a question for €40.
40
the
euro?
Next voice.
Is that all she's doing it for? Fucking 40 euro?
Tony, it's better than you did. Would you focus, Pet?
I'm
Focus,
focusing
please.
here.
Tony, the next voice you hear will be Eleanor's, and she's the only voice I want you to listen to, okay?
I'm just see that all my life.
She will give you a question followed by 4 possible answers. You will have 30 seconds to answer that question. Your time starts now.
Tony, darling.
Hello, Eleanor, my sweetheart.
Hello, Pet.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm fine. Would you listen?
I need who's downtown.
No, would you shut up and listen, please? Which of the following is not the name of a Thomas the Tank Engine? I know you're a big fan of Thomas, Pet. The answers are, which remember now, Tony, which ones are not, and I'm about to run out of time. Gordon, James, Henry or Alan. Gordon, James, Henry or Alan. Which of them are not a Thomas the Tank Engine?
They're none of them.
Tony, I'm going to lose you, Pet. I love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Tony a round of applause. Eleanor, what can I say? I hope he makes a better husband than he does phone a friend. Tell me, I can tell you one of these answers is correct.
Okay.
Contrary to what Tony tells you.
Okay. So look, I suppose I'll have a guess of it. I don't like 3 of the names here, but there's one of them I particularly like, and that's Alan. Will we try Alan?
Is that your final answer?
Well, it's the only answer I have now, I'm afraid.
Eleanor, I'm very impressed with that scientific analysis of the question. You have just won yourself €40. Well done.
Brilliant.
Question 7, Eleanor, is for €50. It's your second milestone question of the night.
Okay.
What was the name of the Beatles record company? Orange, apple, lemon, or pear?
Okay.
Were you a Beatles fan?
I was.
And you were chasing matadors in Spain.
Exactly. It's apple.
Eleanor, you've just won yourself €50. Well done.
I get to keep that now, don't I?
That's the lowest amount of money that you can leave with tonight. But I need to explain, Eleanor has very generously agreed to be the first contestant tonight, just to show you how easy it is to win money, indeed, and take time out of her honeymoon. There's 2 sides to this, Eleanor. One is you get all the fame for coming on stage, but you must give the money to a charity of your choice. Who would you like to give your winnings to?
Well, I think the only thing is to put it back into the fund for St. Mary's.
Let's give Eleanor a huge round of applause. Okay. Okay, Eleanor, St. Mary's are €150 better than... they're €50, I should say, better off than they were before they started.
Well, it's better than nothing.
But Eleanor, we don't want to give you €50. We want to give you much more money. So let's have a look at the question. Number 8 is for €100.
Okay.
Which golfer designed the K Club? Gary Player, Arnold Palmer, Nick Faldo, or Ben Crenshaw?
Well, that's an easy one. That's it. We need to ask the audience on that one. Because there's loads of golfers here.
Okay, we're going to ask the audience, ladies and gentlemen, your first chance to show us how bright you are tonight and how intelligent you are. Can I have a show of hands, please, for Gary Player? Who thinks it was Arnold Palmer?
Oh, there's a few hands over there. Look.
I see them. Who thinks it was Nick Faldo?
Oh, Lord, I'm confused now.
And who thinks it was Ben Crenshaw?
Okay, so we're down between...
Ladies and gentlemen, who hasn't the foggiest notion who designed the K-Club? Okay, we are torn between Arnold Palmer and Nick Faldo, so can I see the hands again for Arnold Palmer, please? And can I see the hands for Ben Crenshaw?
No, Nick Faldo.
Oh, sorry, apologies, Nick Faldo, excuse me.
There's more hands now for Nick Faldo.
We have a slight majority going for Nick Faldo, but it's very, very close, so I'm going to leave it. You don't have any lifelines. What I will say to you, Eleanor, is you can't lose any money on this question.
Okay.
If you go for it and get it right, it becomes €100. If you get it wrong, you still have the 50.
Okay. Well, you know, the fairest way of doing this now, right, is I was looking at the faces, and I know a lot of people here, right, because I went to school in Macroom and I worked in Macroom for a time, right, and I must say, the smarter people I know, no offence now to the other people, but the smarter people I know had their hands up for Arnold Palmer over there in the corner. And there's a man winking at me over there as well. So I'm rather inclined to go with Arnold Palmer.
I'm still at that point where you said no offence intended, but the smarter people went for Arnold Palmer. How you don't take offence out of that, I don't know. Is that your final answer, Eleanor?
We'll have a go of it. You better be right.
Everybody who went for Nick Faldo there is really hoping that you're wrong. Eleanor, the correct answer is in fact Nick Faldo, Arnold Palmer. You've got me confused at this stage. You're up to €100. Well done.
Woohoo!
Sorry about throwing you off there. Okay, Eleanor, this is where it gets really, really serious. From here on out, you can win quite significant amounts of money, but you need to be conscious you can lose money from here on as well, okay? A right answer to the next question is worth you 150, but if you go for it and get it wrong, you lose 50.
I'm ready.
Okay. Question 9 for €150. Which Irish writer wrote the play Exiles? James Joyce, George Bernard Shaw, Walter Mackin, or Oscar Wilde? Right answer is worth you 150. A wrong answer will cost you 50, Eleanor. You have no lifelines left.
Is there only those four, is there?
Did you think it was somebody else that isn't here?
I did actually.
Okay, all I can tell you is it's definitely one of those four.
That's a great help. Right. Sure, I've nothing to lose. We'll have a guess off it.
Well, I just need to tell you, I can give you a cheque for 100, okay? If you go for it and get it incorrect, you do lose 50. If you get it correct, it becomes 150. I can give you a cheque now and you can walk away.
No, I'm going to go for it. I'm feeling very brave and very smart tonight. I knew it tonight when I was getting ready. I was feeling very smart.
Okay.
We'll go for A, James Joyce. Has to be.
Eleanor, there's no going back. There's no going back. It's gone to orange. I have to take that answer. Eleanor, you had €100. Eleanor, you no longer have €100. Because Eleanor, you now have €150. Well done.
Thanks very much.
Eleanor, you're 3 questions away from €1,000 here. You have no lifelines left. I'm going to show you the question for €250.
Okay.
But if you get this question wrong, you will now lose €100. You know that? Okay. For €250, in which county would you find Donegal Point? Clare, Mayo, Galway, or Donegal?
I thought the answer would be fairly obvious, but
I can give you a cheque for St Mary's Parents Association for €150 if you wish.
I think that's what we better do.
Is that your final answer, Eleanor?
Yeah, I've done far better than I imagined, and that Tony imagined either. So I think it's better cut my losses.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please give a rousing round of applause for our first contestant tonight, Miss Eleanor Shorthall O'Flynn. Well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
What's your real name?
Annette Dilworth.
Annette. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, wasn't she fantastic? There's a cheque for €150. Eleanor, stay with us for a moment, right? Stay with us for 1 second and just tell me, if you were going for that, I can't take the cheque back from you. You're guaranteed $150, but if you were giving a guess there, what would you have gone for?
Well, you know, just to be mad, I'd probably go for something like Claire. It's highly unlikely.
Eleanor, if you went for the words Claire, followed by the words final answer, I just had to give you a cheque for €250. Let's give her a huge... Give her a huge round of applause there again. What a wonderful contestant.
Thank you very much, Eleanor, also known as Anne Enright. Well done, Anne. Thank you very much. Or Annette Enright. Thank you, Annette. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to speed the show a bit. We're going to select our next contestant from the draw drum. Thank you, Donald. All the tickets that your hard working committee has sold, ladies and gentlemen, are in the drum, and we're going to select our next contestant, who is Patsy Minahan from 17 Oakwood in Macroom. Where's Patsy Minahan? We have Patsy. Well done.
All-Ireland Score Sheenshire 2007 was held in Killarney earlier this year. We now bring you some contestants who took part.
To sing My Blue-Eyed Mountain Queen, please give a rousing reception to Sinead Egan.
'Twas in the lovely month of May, when fields were fresh and green, I was forced to leave my native home, my age being scarce 18. And when I parted with my dear, her loving tears were seen. In troubled mind I left behind my blue-eyed mountain queen. Farewell to Glen Bay's lofty hills and those lovely mountain streams, where sun and moon rise through the gloom, pours forth this brilliant beam. Her castle stands beneath the hill, bound round with laurels green, and in America's plain I will spend my days with my blue-eyed mountain queen. My father is a fisherman, he's on the raging sea. My mother, she through sad long years sleeps way. My sisters and my brothers four, I regard them with esteem, but it's little they know how I weep for soul, for my blue-white mountain queen. God speed the ship across the deep that steers my love to me. The way to fill her topsail white, to waft her o'er the sea. Her steam-made bow has made a vow for to plough the waves between, and on her breast to bear the crest of my blue-white mountain queen. Gurmila Margaret.
To be specific, to recite for us a piece called The Present. Would you please give a big welcome to Micheál McGibney, Micheál McGibney.
I was backward at going forward, and why I didn't know. Now there was people said that I was shy, and others called me slow. Me father blamed me mother for rearing me a lazy sod, while she maintained 'twas all his fault, that all his crowd was odd. But I had me eye on Mary Ann this last 8 years or so. The only thing that held me back, 'twas in case she might say no. See, the problem was I turned her down back in her younger days. Now, it's not that she's got any better looking, it's just I'm not as hard to please. I was put in contact with a man, an expert in these things, who swore to me that he had a plan and told me to buy the rings. Says he, now if you follow me get a woman plan, I guarantee that in a week or two, I'll have a rating from your hand. Says he, the next time that you see her, you pay her a lot of heed. Look closely at what she's wearing and see is there anything she might need. Perhaps a scarf around her neck or something for her hair. Well, if you let the plan come back to me, and she will take it on from there. Well, later on that evening, I was going down to have a pint. And who did I meet? Only Mary Ann and her coming peddling on her bike. Oh, just as I was meeting her, there came a great big truck and nearly blew that clothes clean off her. And didn't I get a real good look? Well, now, there wasn't a pile she needed. As far as I could see, all her odds and ends were covered up from just above the knee. But there and then I spied it, what a man could buy for the woman he loved, so that it was sitting straight in front of me. She wasn't wearing gloves. Well, I'd go into town next Thursday on the bus from Mullaburn to try and buy the pair of gloves, the first part of the plan. I told me ma what I was doing and could you recommend a kind. She says it'd suit you better buy them for yourself and not be always wearing mine. Says she, sure, I'll go with you. You might need me to try them on. Well, now, it wasn't the way I planned it, but sure, I said I'd play along. She says we'll go into that draper's shop that belongs to Fred McVickers. You know him in an awful way for a pair of pants. Do you know that's what women now call knickers? But when I walked into that draper's shop, I got completely mesmerised. For when the shopman asked me, I didn't know her size. I stood there like an idiot, and I didn't know what to do. Big up says, hey, you have me there, but she's about a 7 in a shoe. Well, I bought a pair about her size, well, as far as I could tell. Oh, a lovely pair of leather ones that had a gorgeous smell. And then I saw a men's pair that was sitting on the shelf, and I thought about what Ma had said, so I bought them for myself. And later on, when I got home, I took me Ma's advice, and I splashed on what was left in a bottle of old spice. Says, hey, Ma, where's the shopping? Oh, she says, it's lying on the bed. But instead of picking up the gloves, didn't I pick the knickers up instead? Well, I left the house as pleased as punch, not realising what I'd done. I leapt up on the tractor and I got started on the run. When I got to Mary Ann's, I could see she was alone, so I parked the tractor on a slope and headed her for home. I just sort of slipped up to the front door, and on it I did knock. When Mary Ann came out, says, I'd like to have a talk. And there's a wee something for you I bought in McVitter's shop, and I handed her the present with a love heart on the top. But when she opened up the present, she didn't look one bit pleased. The bit of a grin that was there before had quickly been erased. Gob says, hey, she doesn't like the gloves, and I felt an awful dread as her face began to tighten and the hair stood on her head. See, to tell the truth, I really liked them when I saw them on the shelf. In fact, I liked them that much, I bought a pair myself. You see, when it was cold, I'd wear me mother's, but I thought it wasn't fair that I was wearing hers so much and should I wear her only pair. Well, by now the face was flying of Mary Ann. I thought she'd blow a fuse, and the language that come out of her I never heard a woman use. And just at that, she pushed me back and knocked me off me feet. And in the melee that followed, I lost me cap and bottom row of teeth. Well, as I freewheeled down the lone, and I was hopping off each ditch, me 2 ears they were still banging from the barks of yon old bitch. And if ever I meet that expert, I'll get him to take his plan and to shove it where the sun don't shine. And to hell with Mary Ann.
Ballad Grouper competition. The first act on stage will be from Cundy Tyrone again. We will have Ronan O'Gallagher, Neil McConchilla, Noel Nihoner, Nuala Inale, and Keelan Niconchilla. They will perform for us the Ballad of John Williams and Cohan. Please give a big welcome, representing Oma St. Enda's, Cundy Tyrone.
Rich man, poor man, beggar man, wife, sailed away into the night. Where they'll end up, no one knows. Round and round the story goes. He said, my friend, I'll take my chance in far off New York town. They say there's lots of work there, and a good man won't stay down. For with my lassie by my side, we'll build a better home. And when the sea drifts over, lad, we never more will roam. So we said farewell upon the quay. There was nothing left to do but to pray for John and his lovely bride, that their dreams might all come true. Rich man, poor man, beggar man, wife, sailed away into the night. Where they'll end up, no one knows. Round and round the story goes. You, John Williams, and your lovely fair-haired bride, to be sailing on that mighty ship across the ocean wide. For she's the finest liner that was ever built by man, and they say there's naught can sink her, no, not even God's own hand. Man's pride can be his own downfall. That great ship sailed from home, and I thought I heard the banshee cry that chills me to the bone. Rich man, poor man, beggar man, wife, sailed away into the night. Where they'll end up, no one knows. Round and round the story goes. Round and round the iceberg flows.
Representing Erin's Hope to sing The Cottage with the Roses Around the Door, would you please give a big kingdom welcome to Shauna McGarrigle.
Oh, the night is fading fast, and I'm dreaming of the past as I'm sitting with my darling by my side. She's an old and wrinkled dame, still I love her just the same as that sunny day she came to be my bride. I think I see her now with a smile upon her brow, as she vowed that she'd be mine forevermore. I've no land nor pastures wide, still I took her home with pride to my cottage with the roses round the door. Light-hearted did I toil, and I found that grateful soil gave me back for my work 100-fold. If I'd enough and I could spare for the poor a tiny share, envy not the planter and his bowl. But we had to there agree, resignation brought relief. It was hard until the bitterness was o'er, for we both were sorely tried when our little darling died in that cottage with the roses round the door. We will simply journey on, though the boys and girls have gone to the cities midst the bustle and the strife. They left us here alone in this cottage that's our home, where patiently we wait till close of light. To each other all in all, some sweet stories we recall of those dear little ones who've gone before. Still we're happy, though we know that too we soon will go from that cottage with the roses round the door. Where am I got?
Now we return to Kerry. Our second Rincaforna on stage represents Spa Condakiri. They will dance a trip to the cottage. Would you please welcome Triona Ní Vangáin, Mairead Ní Vangáin, Padraig Ní Bhríonáchain, Sherry Ní Warrachu, Siobhan Ní Cahasí, Anya Mara Ní Nelagáin, Sinead Ní Nelagáin, agus Joanne Ní Crohuir. Please give a big welcome to Spa Condakiri.
Hope you enjoyed our programme tonight. Thank you for watching, and good night.
I've seen many hills that are dreary and bare. I've seen many mountains so beauteous and fair. But of all that I gazed on, there's none can compare to you, my sweet Mushra Mountain. Oh, Mushra Mountain, forever you leave. Far away now, in the land of my dreams. But wherever I'll wander, you'll still reign supreme, my beautiful Mushra Mountain. In springtime I saw you an emerald queen, as I gazed on your slopes in their mantle of green. And your beauty, it haunts me, though for years I've not seen my beautiful Mushra Mountain. In summer I saw you blooming so grand, a mystical picture, a sweet fairyland. No place that is mortal was ever more planned as you, my sweet Mushra Mountain. In autumn the scheme of your colours was wide, the hue of your mantle so hard to describe, a charm of nature and heaven beside, my beautiful Mushra Mountain. In winter I saw you wilding with snow, where torrents sweep down to the valley below, with dark mists a-creeping and harsh winds that blow. For you, my sweet Mushra Mountain. Someday I'll go back and stand on your crest, and press the wild heather again to my breast. My wandering's over, it's there I will rest, on you, my sweet Mushra Mountain. Oh, Mushra Mountain, forever you'll keep. Far away now, in the land of my dreams. But wherever I'll wander, you'll still reign supreme, my beautiful